Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're looking at the Buck Marksman 830. Alright guys, this is my Buck's Marksman that I've had for quite some time. That's why it's got the kind of worn look. I did that on purpose. And I've also done some other things to it that you'll have to see the full review or watch some of the stuff we're going to do to one of these knives to find out about. And the full review will be linked up under the eye and at the end of the video. Anyhow, what you get with the Buck Marksman is aluminum scales with some cutouts here for style and for grip. You got a slightly oversized pivot with a bit of styling to it. And instead of any sort of backspacer or anything, what we have are the necessary components for the SLS lock mechanism, the G&G Hawk lock mechanism. And it's kind of a backstrap lock, has kind of a bottle opener appearance, and it works really, really good. And as far as our pocket clip goes, it's tip up, left or right, facilitated by these two small screws here at the end. You can flip it around to the other side, and it's a very deep carry pocket clip. You can see that in the full review as well. And our blade is made out of 154 cm. It is a drop point, hollow ground. It's a very nice blade, very similar to what is in the Buck Vantage line. And it's just a very nice blade. I've really enjoyed using it over the past year or so. Mechanicals, we're on bearings, and whenever I say we're on bearings, I mean we are on bearings. This is the smoothest knife that I have had my hands on, smoothest bearing knife for sure. Now, granted, it's not that hydraulic smooth that you get out of something like, oh, I don't know, like some of the Kaisers or some of the other high-end bearing knives, some of the Spydercos and whatnot. But because whenever you get off the detent, there is nothing hindering this knife. It just swings out there like, well, there's nothing hindering it. So rolls back and forth on those bearings. Our lock mechanism is this SLS lock by G&G Hawk that Buck has commissioned, and it is, in my opinion, a great lock. It does require over time some user service. So if you're not comfortable with Allen wrenches and Loctite and adjusting things on your own, may not be the knife for you. And but I rather like it, and I don't mind doing those things. The hardware quality on this, I have not had any problem with it, but I have heard of some people having a little problem with some of the Torx screws and some of the Allen head screws on the back. But as for me, using the proper size tools and good tools, I haven't had any problems. And ergonomically, this thing is a beaut. I mean, it's just great. That's one of the parts of the Buck Marksman that I have really enjoyed. Any way you get your hand around it, it's good. You're locked in. You've got a little bit of a curve here to keep you from getting up on the blade, and it just works great. As far as action goes, we looked at how free it is. It's got a little bit of a detent, snaps out every time. If you use the flipper, you can use just the blade hole, and you can even flip it with the blade hole if you like. I even saw somebody spidey flick. Yep, there we go. We can spidey flick it as well. And our street price is about 75 or 80 bucks. And the only ugly thing I can come up with on this knife is these areas right here are back cut. And what that means is this edge overhangs the cutout below. And what that causes is over here under this pocket clip, it will eat your pocket in a pair of jeans over time. You know, get that rough frayed look on the corner of your pocket where your knife's been clipped in. However, it's not any worse than some aggressive G10 or some of the other stuff I've seen out there. So just something to be aware of. And the other thing to be aware of is, like I said a few minutes ago, this one will require some user service at certain points because you're going to have to make adjustments to this lock mechanism. Other than that, the Buck Marksman is one of my favorites. I really, really like this knife, and we are going to take probably this one apart and we're going to do all kinds of neat stuff to it. So if you'd like to follow those videos, subscribe to the channel, and they'll be coming out a little at a time, starting sometime here in January. And I really appreciate you guys stopping by and talking knives with me for a couple of minutes. This has been the Buck Marksman. It's one of my favorites. Anyhow, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.